This week's scenario is two fronts from the Steamroller 2015 tournament pack. It consists of the killbox scenario. There are two rectangular zones. You can dominate the friendly zone for 1 control point. You can control the enemy zone for 1 control point and dominate the enemy zone for 2 control points. And you can destroy the enemy objective for 1 control point. 5 control points or assassination of the enemy warcaster wins. Hey everybody, this is Solus. So we started up another scramble, and my two lists are P-Vayl, Disciple of Everblight, or P-Vayl 1, and Legion's new casters, well, sort of new, but Saren and Raek, the Talons of Everblight. They are the 10th anniversary release, along with Mk2, but unfortunately Legion doesn't get to play with Mk2. They're a warlock unit, so I'm still trying to figure out exactly how to play them properly, but they seemed like an interesting choice, and I think they're going to be really, really interesting, and hopefully we'll get some releases that unlock them even more. My P-Vayl 1 list is a Scythean, a Seraph, Typhon, an Angel, 2 Raeks, and a Shredder, along with a full spawning vessel, a Spell Martyr, and 2 Forsaken for some Fury management. And I'm using the objective Fuel Cache because P-Vayl likes free charges for her War Beasts. The Saren and Raek list is a Scythean, a Seraph, Zuriel, because it's kind of neat that he gets both bonuses for both Saren and Raek. Nephilim Protector because Raek doesn't like getting knocked down, and a Shredder for some tenacity. The Black Frost Shard, they help me hit. You'd think I wouldn't need the help, but you know, making something stationary is always nice. And the big thing that they bring is harm. Raek likes being effectively power 14 when she's hitting something. You know, power 14 Weapon Master kind of hurts a lot. I'm also trying out a unit of swordsmen with the UA. I'm not quite certain that they're what I need in this list, but I figured I'd give it a shot. I also have a shepherd, mainly for healing and some fury management if necessary. And then I'm also using the fuel cache objective for this list. So for this week's battle, I'm playing against Circle, and I kind of feel like my P-Vayl 1 list is a better matchup, mainly because I played the twins into Circle a couple weeks ago, and I didn't feel as comfortable as I wanted to in that game, so I decided to go with my P-Vayl list, mainly because I'm more comfortable playing her. I've got a lot more reps in playing P-Vayl, so I felt that I would have a better shot with this list versus the twin.
Here you see I have Epic Kruger with the Una boat, and with Kruger I have Wilder, Stalker, Gatorman, and Gorax. I have the full unit of Druids with UA, 2 units Shifting Stone, Stonekeeper, Blackclad, and Gallows Grooves. I ended up going with my Epic Morvahna list, which contains the Stalker and the Gorax for the battle group, and 3 units of infantry. You'll see I have the Blood Pack, which I find very handy on feat turn with Assault and Battery, a full unit of Skinwalkers with UA for heavy hitting firepower, and a full unit of Bloodtrackers along with the UA to be able to take down fragile Legion War Beasts with their POW 9 or POW 11 Weapon Master Spears. 1 unit of Shifting Stones with UA. I have Viktor Pendrake and Gatorman Witch Doctor for the Bloodtrackers, and 2 Gallows Grooves.
So for deployment, I decided that I would like to go first, mainly because I want to be able to blitz up the field and not get jammed out of zones, or at least not get jammed out and not have a chance to clear it before scoring. The main idea is to get up the field as fast as possible, hopefully remove from play with the Scythean, and jam him up with Raeks. And if I can, I'd really like to kill Nuala as quickly as possible, mainly because it'll stop him from reforming. Bloodtrackers that get to, advance, throw stuff at me, and then back up a little bit is really, really annoying. We'll see how it goes.
I decided to deploy my battle group in the middle of the field, directly across from the hill, hoping that it would help me in case of any shooting or anything like that. In hindsight, most of his shooting is sprays anyway, so probably wouldn't have helped too much since it's such a big hill and he could walk on the hill and spray me down. I deployed my Skinwalkers to the left to be able to attack the Scythean. I have my blood pack on the right to be able to assist my Bloodtrackers with the Angeli and Typhon on the bottom of the screen. Going into my advanced deployment, I have the Bloodtrackers deployed directly in front of the Angeli, who I would later pick as my prey. I briefly considered declaring Typhon as my prey, which probably would have been a good choice, but I think in this case I felt like the Angeli was the better call. You'll notice that I always leave at least one model in every unit a little further back, and this is because it'll make it hard to completely wipe out an entire unit.
So for turn 1, the Seraph's plan is to slipstream and just advance. It slipstreams up the Scythean, and then just sits there and doesn't do a whole lot else because there's nothing else in range. I go ahead and run with the Raek on my left, and I'm just trying to get it so that the Bloodtrackers can't walk up and throw pointy objects at me. I advance with the pot, and it just walks up. I don't end up killing anybody because I don't need to at this point. I go ahead and run up with the Angel. He put prey, or he had the Bloodtrackers prey my Angel, which is not a big deal for me. It does force me to play it a little bit farther back. I honestly think he would have been better off praying the Seraph. Because if he kills the Seraph, a lot of my mobility and movement shenanigans gets kind of neutered. Then I go ahead and go with P-Vayl. She puts tenacity on the one Raek on my left and casts Leash on Typhon. I then advance, leashing and slipstreaming Typhon forward. Then she throws her ball at the Angel, auto-hitting, does no damage, and then puts tenacity on the Angel and the Raek. I go ahead and run with the second Raek. Again, just trying to get it up there so it can be annoying. Defense 16 with tenacity is fairly difficult to hit. And honestly, I kind of view Raeks as fire forget missiles. I get them in position turn 1, fire them off turn 2. If I end up feeding turn 2, I generally just jam them farther into my opponent's lines. I go ahead and run up with the Scythean, and the Shredder walks up, puts tenacity on P-Vayl. Looking at it, didn't do anything else with Typhon, but that's actually okay. I don't want him too far forward. Where he is right now is fine.
Circle Orboros, turn 1. I begin the turn by activating my Skinwalkers. I go ahead and run my full 10 inches. Very careful to try to spread them out as much as possible, getting them in safe spots, putting them in trees, on top of hills, making sure I'm towing in the zone so I have some scenario presence and I'm not just completely giving up my zone. And as I'll point out here and there, that I'll always keep at least one model back, and as I mentioned before, this is due to the fact that it'll be much harder for my opponent to completely destroy a unit, and I can be able to defeat back an entire unit with my Warcaster. Here I activate my Bloodtrackers. Try to move up somewhat cautiously. Obviously the Legion War Beasts ignore stealth, and both Typhon and the Angeli are right there. you know, they can kill a couple Bloodtrackers even with tough. So I tried not to move up too far and spread my models out as much as possible. I did move up Nuala a little bit too far up, which you will see, you know, in the following turn. I did not anticipate how far the threat range on the Raek is. Here I walk up the Gatorman Witch Doctor and put Zombify on the Bloodtrackers, making them fearless and tough. Next I teleport a Gallows Groove within 5 inches on the top of the screen. Next I activate my my Warcaster. Walk up roughly 5 to 6 inches and measure my control area. Go ahead and move my last 2 to 3 inches over, cast Carnivore on the Skinwalkers and Fog of War on myself, camping 2. Next I activate the Gorax, run and rile for a little bit, and followed by the Stalker. And I place my battle group kind of to the left zone over on my left zone, hopefully being able to clear out the Raek and the Scythean to try to quickly dominate since I went second. Next I'll move my shifting stones in a tight formation around my battle group. Finally I'll move my blood pack up as far as possible in order to support my Bloodtrackers. On this side of the field, I didn't commit too many of my heavy hitters, you know, my Skinwalkers and my Stalker hitting the hardest. So I was a little bit concerned there with my deployment, but I was kind of hoping I would take the top flank and be able to move down the field while my Bloodtrackers and Blood Pack kind of gummed him up on the other side.
So going into turn 2, he came forward about as aggressively as I thought he was going to. So now the trick is going to be mitigating a lot of what he can actually do to me in his next turn. So with that said, I go ahead, I leech my fury back, all the tenacities fall off, and I go ahead and upkeep leash, because Typhon is going to be, I think, a little bit helpful at this point. The trick now is going to be making sure that everything sequences properly. So with that in mind, I activate the pot first and start killing lunch ladies. Manage to kill the 3 that I need and use the corpse tokens that I generate to pop out a stinger. I thought about a harrier, but I figured that the more damage would be better. I want to get rid of the tree, mainly because it's in my way, and if he really needs it, it's going to force him to spend his feet getting it back. I end up charging with the stinger, and it gets to charge for free with the fuel cache. And I make sure when I charge that I have the Skinwalker, and so charge, auto hit, kill the tree, buy and boost another attack on the blood pack, but don't manage to kill it. So at the very least, the Skinwalkers are that one Skinwalker is tied up with the stinger. It can walk away, but POW 12 on 3 dice at arm 16's good chance of killing it. So at this point, I'm mainly just trying to make his next turn as difficult as possible. Go ahead, I go with Vayl. She casts Slipstream and walks up. Typhon walks up with Leash and then Slipstream. And I throw my ball. She puts Tenacity on the Raek. And I'm trying to decide if it's worth casting Insight, but there's nothing useful there, so she's just done. I go ahead and advance with the Raek. It advances and then jumps and attacks Nuala. Boost the tail attack and manage to kill Nuala, who doesn't make her tough check. That's fairly useful for me, especially considering that it's now in his lines and he won't be able to reform. I walk up with Typhon and I try and spray the Bloodtracker. I think I need 9s to hit it, so I boost the second spray and boost the attack roll on the other, who fails a tough. And then I have a third spray left, so I spray a blood pack, just trying to kill it, and again, making his life a little bit more difficult. Go ahead with the Shredder, puts up Tenacity on Vayl, and I'm looking at it and I'm not terribly worried about the Fury on the Raek, because I'm not expecting it to live. So I aim with the Angel, boost a shot into a Bloodtracker, manage to kill it, walk up with the Forsaken, which takes off the 4 Fury on Typhon, and I slipstream with the Angel, walks over and slipstreams Vayl a little bit farther forward. I thought about bringing her backwards, but I felt that it would be better off, she'd be better off forward. Then it goes ahead and shoots, trying to shoot at a Bloodtracker, manage to hit and kill it. Then the rest of the strafe shots are wasted because everything else is out of range. So I go ahead with the other Raek, and it just advances and leaps. Trying to get the tree in range, and I managed to kill his other Arc Node. So I feel pretty good about this turn. Put the Scythean just at the edge of the zone, and then I have the next Forsaken go, cleans out the Fury on the Seraph, and then I just have the Spell Martyr advance into the zone.
Circle Orboros, turn 2. At the beginning of my turn, I chose to let Fog of War drop. I upkept Carnivore, and I have 6 Fury on my Warcaster. I begin the turn by checking my control area, kind of see how far Typhon is from me. I knew at the beginning of my turn I wanted Carnivore to stay on the Skinwalkers and then cycle it over to the Blood Pack in order to try to move both Raeks on my flanks and the Stinger in the middle of the board. You know, unfortunately the Raeks had very high defense of 16. So with Mat 9 on the Blood Pack, you know, still needing 5s to hit, I just wanted to be completely sure. So the idea was that I would activate the Skinwalkers and take care of the Stinger and the Raek first, activate Morvahna, and then cast Purification and cycle over Carnivore to the Blood Pack. In hindsight, I probably should have not cast Purification, and just ended up camping the Fury, since, you know, the difference of 5s to 6s, while it is significant, you know, I did have rerolls, so I probably would have been better off holding the 3 Fury instead of using it to take off, you know, Tenacity on the Raek and Typhon. Here you see me killing the Stinger and working my way towards the Raek. You'll notice that the models that had dices next to them denoted models that did not get a charge bonus. So only the Warpborn Alpha at the top got a charge bonus. However, thanks to the rapid strikes from the UA. Each model was able to get 2 strikes on, and I was able to remove the Raek. Now, unfortunately, the Stalker was in my way, so I had to choose to activate the Stalker before my Warcaster in order to kind of get him out of the way. So, activated my stones, just repositioned them a little bit. I was very much certain that I would not be able to reach the Scythean with my Stalker, even with a teleport. And I could tell because, you know, the zone is 12 inches long, and we're on a, you know, direct diagonal from each other, so it's roughly 14 inches. So I just kind of positioned my Stalker for the next turn, getting in a really good position for turn 3. You know, unfortunately I was not able to take the zone like I had originally hoped, but you know, here you see me activating my Warcaster, measuring my control area, making sure everything is within range. Try to get Leash and Tenacity off. I do cast Purification, removing the upkeeps and the enemy, and then I cast Carnivore on the Blood Pack through the Gallows Groove. Or sorry, through Morvahna herself. You see me here checking for kill box, and at the end of my caster's activation, I do a light cab move, just barely staying within the kill box. You'll note that I am camping on 1 Fury right now. So as you'll remember, I had the Angeli chosen as my prey. So the idea was that I would use the Blood Pack to kill the Raek at the bottom of the screen and free up my Bloodtrackers and kind of go in and harass the Angeli a little bit. So I go ahead and do my assault and battery orders. You know, shooting Typhon a little bit. The guy in the way back, the leader, is out of range. Unfortunately, so only got 2 shots on Typhon, I believe 1 hit. You know, the rest are getting their charges. Here you see checking that I don't run over my own base. Get 3 Blood Pack on the 1 Raek at the bottom, and run that guy over in the back, making sure he's nice and safe. And this is where I made a very crucial mistake. I decided to charge Typhon thinking I could tie him up and, you know, slow him down a little bit or mess up his order of activations. What I did forget was Dark Sentinel on Vayl, which really ended up kind of hurting me and actually ended up costing me the game. You know, in this case, he ended up leaving my melee range. I was able to take a free strike because Dark Sentinel doesn't ignore free strike. Put a good chunk of damage on Typhon. You know, here you see him spraying me. Unfortunately, you'll notice kind of the only thing I have really left to activate is my Bloodtracker, since I've already activated my War Beasts. So I'm in quite a bit of a pickle here. So you'll see me now kind of finishing up my attacks on the Raek that I charged. Missed a couple attacks, took some rerolls with Morvahna to reroll those hits, and I was able to actually remove the Raek. I also want to note, you'll notice that I do not gain a corpse token for killing the Raek, because Carnivore removes from play the model that the blood pack killed. So activating the Viktor Pendrake now, he's going to go ahead and put Beast Lore on the Bloodtrackers, making it easier for my Bloodtrackers to hit these Legion War Beasts. Go ahead and activate the Bloodtrackers, and they're going to walk up 7 as far as they can. The one that was knocked down is just going to forfeit her movement, and you know, try to get that one Bloodtracker on the hill so he doesn't get a bonus for defense bonus for shooting. Fortunately, I think I spread out my Bloodtrackers a little too far. You know, I could only get about 4 shots on Typhon himself, and I knew it was kind of do or die, because if I didn't kill Typhon right here, I'd be really hurt. Quickly considered trying to throw a couple javelins at Vayl, but you know, you can see she has 4 fury on her, so at most I could get 3 javelins onto her, and she's, I think, defense 16 against shooting, so definitely it wasn't going to happen. So I rolled fairly well on Typhon. You know, they're POW 9 without prey, unfortunately. Even though I think I left him with about 8 boxes after the Bloodtrackers activation, but you know, still 8 to 10 boxes. He had a good chunk, maybe a third of his life. It just was not enough to get the job done, sadly. And you'll see me here. I'm taking damage as I re-roll, trying to get those spikes. Didn't get the super big damage rolls as I had hoped, but you know, on average it was, you know, fairly average rolls. See me here, you know, kind of scratching my head thinking what I'm gonna do to try to kill Typhon, because I know if I don't kill him, I'm totally done. You know, at this point, I believe I have the Gatorman Witch Doctor left to activate, so kind of hoping for a miracle. Throwing down the proxy base, speed 5, you know, make sure I'm within my half-inch range. He does not have reach, unlike the Gatorman posse. And measuring it out, and unfortunately it ended up being that I was actually out of range, and I did fail my charge about a quarter of an inch out. And I believe that was my turn. I just moved up the, you know, the Gorax. I very quickly contemplated, you know, seeing if I could charge him. Could not. The Skinwalker was in the way, and he was out of range anyway. Had I not activated the stones, maybe I could have teleported him over. You know, unfortunately, that wasn't happening, so I just, you know, riled and moved up.
So, going into turn 3, Typhon is in a really good position and not dead, which was mildly surprising, but, you know, I'm not going to look a gift horse in the mouth. So, I leech my Fury, and at this point, I look at it, and I kind of feel like I have a chance at the assassination this turn. So, with that in mind, I start off, charge the Scythean into the objective, trying to get it as far forward as I can legally, so that hopefully when it bloodbaths I can kill a bunch of stuff. It goes in, it kills the objective, and then triggers bloodbath, so I make the chain attack into the Skinwalkers there. Unfortunately, I only managed to hit one of them, but that in mind, I put up its animus and buy an attack, hit the Skinwalker, and then manage to kill it, removing it from play so that he doesn't get to heal from it. I have my Spell Martyr go ahead and run up, and my Seraph then puts up its animus and charges the Witch Doctor that's in my way for free because of the objective, and then I end up slipstreaming Vayl forward. The idea is I can walk her forward and get Morvahna in insight range, so hopefully I can actually get Typhon sprays into her. It's a little bit weird. I don't normally play P-Vayl for the assassination, but I realized that I'd set her up on the wrong flank, and probably not the best idea. Normally what I like to do is, you know, kill an objective, dominate a zone for 3 points, and that puts a lot of scenario pressure on my opponent, but I sort of slipped up and didn't do it this game. So, counting up, trying to figure out my Fury, trying to figure out what I want to do. I go with casting Insight, and then trying to figure out if I want to cast Slipstream or not, but I end up not, because I would have had to go the wrong way. So I walk Vayl up and get Morvahna within insight range. I throw my ball at the Bloodtracker on the hill, and then I throw a Hoarfrost into Morvahna and boost the damage. Or excuse me, I don't boost the damage, but at POW 16, dice plus 1, she ends up having to transfer the damage. So I also feat just in case something goes terribly wrong. I go ahead and move up with Typhon, trying to figure out the best way to do this, but I end up just pretty much walking him forward, spraying the Skinwalker in front of me, and hitting Morvahna. Hitting the Skinwalker with the spray, boosting the attack roll on Morvahna, and killing the Skinwalker, then boosting damage on Morvahna. And that pretty much does it. Knocking off the transfer with the Hoarfrost was kind of important. I was not expecting to one-shot the Skinwalker, so that would have given me 2 sprays into Morvahna. But as it stood, I think I was decently ahead. With the feat, I could have backed up and bunkered, so that, you know, if this had gone wrong, but thankfully it didn't.
Probably what I could have done differently, definitely kind of keeping my Bloodtrackers a little bit more centralized. I think I was a little too afraid of the sprays, and I spread them out so much that they didn't really kind of come in where I needed them to come in on one point and focus on that one point. Forgetting about Dark Sentinel really hurt me, definitely costed me the game. In hindsight, that one blood pack should not have been up there, because that kind of triggered that whole chain of events, and you know, really put me in a difficult situation. Probably keeping that 3 Fury that I used to cast Purification probably would have been wise, you know, to kind of keep that. I would have been on 4 transfers had I chosen to not cast Purification instead, and probably would have lived, you know, or made him not think about the assassination. Things I felt I did pretty well. You know, I thought I set up for turn 3 fairly well. You know, I was very confident that I'd be able to remove the Scythean the following turn and begin dominating my zone for 1 point. Hopefully keep him out while still contesting with the Bloodtrackers and the Blood Pack. You know, maybe even feeding on my turn 3 and just jamming him up pretty good. But unfortunately, the Dark Sentinel really hurt me. But overall, it was a good game, and you know, it was a very good learning experience.